It's hard to imagine my dad as a teenager sometimes. I mean, I can see photos and listen to stories, but they all say that he was in love with music and dreamed of being a star. And the man that I grew up with is a rigid nurse. So how did he even learn how to play? How did he even get into music? Well, I think to start that, we should talk to his dad, my grandpa, Ronald Spruill, or Ronnie Ray.
Well, I've always been into music, and he kind of grew up listening to it. But then he decided to pick up guitar. He picked it up, and he was really good at it.
In the garage, he had this whole music room, and I would sneak in there and play his guitars and stuff, and I'd just strum at it, and it sounded like crap. But you know what? That's how I started, and I just kept going and going and going, and eventually just put patterns together. If I could see a pattern, how things work and figure out, damn, I could learn it all.
He could pick up most instruments and make something come out of them. My bass player dropped off a saxophone at the house. I couldn't get anything out of it, and Jason did.
Music just came naturally to me. You know? A lot of things came naturally or easier for me than most people. But discipline was hard for me.
Like with school?
School was rough.
Thus came the terrible teens. As he moved into high school, he began a streak of rebellion, getting into school fights, setting off smoke bombs in his garage, and getting snuck into bars just to play his guitar.
We would sneak him into the club with us and get him to play when he was underage. He would sit in and do some songs.
But his excuse was, oh, that's my roadie. And so I would carry all his equipment and stuff inside the bar and set it up for him, and then I could just sit back and relax. But then he would call me up to play, you know, so I would play like a couple songs and stuff or a set down in, I think it was called the Rusty Nail down in Wilmington. It was open mic. It was like this huge blues jam, and it was just like, well, like bikers and everything else there. And so Grandma's like, hey, I signed you up for this one set coming up. I'm like, well, I don't know what they're gonna play. Well, he said, that's the point, it's a jam. You should go up there and just play. We played a few songs, and then the guy said, we're gonna play Crossroads, Eric Clapton Crossroads. I've never played that song in my life. And so I just jumped in and started playing it. I was like, okay, just watching him, okay, good, got it. And then the dude looks over and goes, all right, gives me the nod. And when someone gives you a nod, you solo. Started playing. And then I was just like, forget it, here we go. I'm already in the solo, just let it go. And I let it loose. Bam, damn, I'm just tearing it up. Close my eyes and just let it flow. Nothing, I just listened to music and nothing else mattered. And then at the end of my solo, I opened my eyes, and that's when I heard everybody in that whole room. I mean, that place was packed. Everybody stood up in that room, standing ovation, just hooting, hollering, cheering me on. And I'm like this 14-year-old kid in a room full of these guys that are like really, really good. I was gonna play music. Don't know how I was gonna do it, but I wanted to play music. But that all changed. That all changed.
As to what changed, he found another focus, Jason Spruill, my mom.
I remember always walking by, and I would always see him playing and stuff, and thought he was really hot.
And when she turned around, I said, oh my gosh, that is the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my entire life.
And so then we just remained friends for a little bit, and then eventually he came around and he told Tia that he liked me, and Tia told me. And so I didn't get my hopes up too crazy. And then I had a necklace and it broke in the hallway, and he picked it up and I forgot he had it. And he actually bought me a new necklace, and he put it in my locker. And on Valentine's Day, I opened it and he had like a little note and a brand new necklace asking to be my girlfriend. And I said yes.
Ever since then, they remained together, eventually graduating as high school sweethearts. As they began taking steps into the real world, my dad still kept his heart on music, while my mom had other plans.
She goes, I'm going to join the Navy. And I already signed up. I said, oh, what the hell am I going to do? I got to do something. You know, I'm not going to be a bum. So I said, well, I'm going to join the Navy too.
And so he did, alongside my mother.
But then we were both decided to be corpsmen. Corpsmen, you know, they're like medics in the Navy. And so we went to A school together, pretty much. And that's when she turned 18 and said, we should get married.
I wanted to make sure that we were going to be stationed together and have the same orders wherever we were going next. If we didn't get married, then he had orders actually to go to Okinawa, Japan. And I could tell he was like super nervous and was like, this is a big step, not sure. But yeah, he did it.
That was probably the best decision I have ever made in my life, to change everything around. Yeah, she gave me focus and made me a better man. Then, you know, I grew from a boy joining the military and having all these dreams until like growing into like a man, which is responsible, you know, for your own actions and all.
Good evening. Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts. The victims were...
We all ran out of the classrooms, went upstairs, and they had this one little TV in this one area, and where everybody, the whole school went. And I remember walking down the hallway singing on the TV as the plane hit the second tower. And I just stood there in shock and awe. I'm thinking, I'm going to join the Navy. It's going to be easy peasy. Nothing's ever going to happen. And then it happened. And then one guy turns around, some random guy starts turning around and starts cheering. He goes, "We're going to war!" And that's when my heart dropped. I said, what the hell, man? I'm just trying to chill and get like college money. That was it. I didn't really want to join it first, but all I wanted to do was play music. I was like, this is just going to be a way for me to get money for that. And then that changed everything.
Immediately after the first attack, Bush implemented his emergency response plan, deploying my father out to Iraq. He was placed in the Marine 2nd LAR to scout out the heart of the Middle East, leaving his newly wedded wife behind to try and guess what he could be facing.
It was tough because nobody knew what really was going on. We sat in Kuwait for like 30 days, and the whole rumor was, all right, we're going to be leaving soon. We're going to go back home. And then in the middle of the night, we packed everything up, and we started going across the border into Iraq.
Even on ship, it was like very minimal call time. It's mainly like, I'm alive, I'm doing good, and then that's pretty much it. Like, that's all you get.
I mean, I remember we stopped at this one area, and I had all these Iraqis come up to me, and I'm trying to treat them. And they kept introducing me as, oh, he's the doctor. I'm not the doctor, I'm just the medic.
Stopped watching the news after a while because it was like super depressing, and it would just make me super anxious.
Pop, pop. You see this, like, looks like fireworks, but it's muzzle flash. And I started firing, do, 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 do. And so everything got quiet. Everything settled down. And then, phew, right by my head. A round goes right by my head.
Anytime, like, a car would go by or something like that, you're just thinking in your head, hopefully no one comes to my door. Like, I don't want to get that news that, hey, you know, he was killed in action or anything like that.
We set up on the side of the road, and as all these Iraqis came through after the battle, we rounded them all up on the side of the road. We were just questioning them, you know, after the battle, like, where were you, all this other stuff. And I'm talking to everybody, and most of them only spoke like Farsi or Arabic. And one guy goes, my name's Melvin. And I started laughing, and so did everybody else. They're like, man, your name's not Melvin. He's like, yeah, no, it's Melvin. I was like, how do you know English? He said he went to school, I think in America now. But we became like really like quick friends right then and there. And then I'd say weeks later, we push up further into Iraq, but on our way back down, we went back to Nasiriyah, and it was destroyed. And so when we stopped with our vehicle, Melvin found me out of the whole city and all. He found me, and he was just covered in dust and dirt and everything else from the battle that happened before. And he's like, I'm hungry, I don't have any food. So what I did was I grabbed a half filled up MRE box, grabbed it and gave it to him. And I said, man, hurry up and run off before they start yelling at you.
Soon, Jason finally resigned after 6 years of service, hanging up his uniform to take on civilian life. And while he was physically away from war, his mind still lingered there.
One time I put mommy in a chokehold one night, but not like a full-out choke, like I'm choking the crap out of her or anything like that. I just rolled over, grabbed her really quick, grabbed her tight, and I said, shh, they're coming, because in my head I thought there was a bunch of Iraqis coming through the door of the house. So I rolled over real quick and I grabbed her. I said, don't make a sound. And she freaked out. She said, oh my God. And I'm like, what? Oh, sorry. Yes, I did. I don't know. I don't really process it. It was just kind of happened naturally. You know, I got into music again. That's for sure. I started playing a lot more music, and that helped. That was like therapy for a bit. But yeah, I mean, and then when I went to the Naval Hospital, me and Rob, we just clicked and we played. We would play for hours. We would spend all day in the sound room playing music and recording and coming up with ideas. You know, and that was huge. That was a huge way to transition back in.
Despite that comfort from music, he never went back professionally. Instead, he went into nursing and still works as a case manager. So, was the path he took the right one, or does he still regret not being a musician?
You know, that one story, that one poem, or that one picture of like the road less traveled, and people always think about that and all. But for me, it's where I'm supposed to be. This path is well traveled, and I'm happy that I went on this journey. I have so many stories that I could tell to your grandkids, you know, Jeremiah and Jason's grandkids, and generations to come. I mean, all the memories and stuff. I mean, that's all we have at the end. When I'm on my deathbed, I'm not gonna be like, God, man, I wish I had that one guitar, or I wish I played that one show in my life at the very end. No, it's gonna be, it's gonna be all you guys around me. So, no, I wouldn't change it for anything. The road well traveled is where I'm supposed to be at. So I'm good. I've done more in my life than in this short life than most people do in 3 lifetimes. I've persevered through most stuff that would kill most people through other means, you know. But I mean, you guys are the purpose. Life's good.
And while those pages close on his music career, he still hasn't given up that passion entirely. In fact, all the music you hear was made by him. Because he still carries a guitar the same way he holds a gun. And he slings a guitar case the same way he would a military pack. Because no matter what happens, he can still carry his passions. And despite the years, he has as much as my father, as he was that teenager in those photos, who once held nothing but a dream.